I watched, of course, the presser on just the other day here in the White House on Tuesday when Trump met Mark Carney, the new prime minister of Canada. And the meeting was, the clear takeaway was that Trump was very kind and very gracious. And at the same time, absolutely took over the meeting, alphaed his way, if you will, across, over Mark Carney. But one of my takeaways, is that I think that it really was speaking much more to the Canadian audience than to Carney, or I think to anybody here at home. I don't know. I vacillate on whether Trump thinks of the 51st state idea of the U.S. and Canada joining up as a country as it being real now. I go back and forth on this. I watched the press conference. Trump is sticking to it, right? He is sticking to the idea about Canada becoming, quote unquote, the 51st state. And here's the exchange, by the way. So the reporter asks Trump if he's changed his mind on the 51st state business. And Trump, this is Trump's response. And Carney cuts in for just a few words, and they go back and forth. So this is the answer to the question, if he still believes that there should be a 51st, Canada should be a 51st state.
I still believe that, but it takes two to tango, right? But no, I do. I mean, I believe it would be a massive tax cut for the Canadian citizens. And it's also a beautiful, as a real estate developer, I'm a real estate developer at heart. When you get rid of that artificially drawn line, somebody drew that line many years ago with like a ruler, just a straight line right across the top of the country. When you look at that beautiful formation when it's together, I'm a very artistic person, but when I looked at that beauty, I said that's the way it was meant to be. But, there are tremendous benefits to the Canadian citizens, tremendously lower taxes, free military, which honestly we give you essentially anyway because we're protecting Canada if you ever had a problem. But I think
Mark Carney's face.
It would really be a wonderful marriage because it's two places that get along very well. They like each other a lot.
Well, if I may, as you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever. But the opportunity is in the partnership and what we can build together. And we have done that in the past.
So hold the tape. You see that? I'm just gonna go back a moment. Just go back a moment. Here, Carney's talking. He goes, well, it's not for sale, not ever. Let's talk to the owners of Canada.
With the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever. But the opportunity is in the partnerip and
there
what
it
we can
is.
build together.
Hey, right when he says that, Trump does this whole thing with his head. He's like, don't never say never, right? You see it. Those of you, by the way, watching on YouTube or Spotify have the video here that I've paused. So let's continue playing the tape.
What we can build together, and we have done that in the past. And part of that, as the president just said, is with respect to our own security. And my government is committed for a step change in our investment in Canadian security and our partnership. And I'll say this as well, that the president has revitalized international security, revitalized NATO, and us playing our full weight in NATO, and that will be part of it.
True. And they have, I must say, Canada is stepping up the military participation because Mark knew, they were low, and now they're stepping it up, and that's a very important thing. But never say never. Never say never.
Who's he talking to here? I think he's talking to the Albertans who are thinking of splitting from Canada. Nobody's saying this, right? Everybody thinks Trump's just kind of, being a blowhard. Trump is talking to the independent-minded Albertans. He is quietly encouraging the Canadians who want out of Canada. How does this benefit, by the way, the question, of course, is how does it benefit the U.S.? And, well, I mean, look, Canada is a country we've got to wrestle from China's orbit. And the way to do that is not to try to outspend or out-finesse the Chinese. The way you do it is you lay down some tough terms and bring the China-friendly government to its knees. And that is exactly what's going on here.